So yes, usually I'd introduce Julian Richards, who's head of UX at GWR. And we've been on the road with this presentation since we won last year, sharing our story. And it's really important to communicate that partnership. We entered the award in partnership, and we've been in partnership for the last 3 years, because it's that's helped overcome a lot of the barriers to CX change, which I know we'll talk about in more detail later. So we held the Business Objectives Workshop in July 2013, where we gathered stakeholders from across the business to really define what the vision for the business was. And they had great ambitions. They wanted to be the #1 retailer in rail travel in the UK, and they wanted to create seamless and personalised customer experiences across their touch points. But there were a lot of challenges, and there were a lot of gaps in the customer experience. So we conducted our own primary research and took consolidated research from across the business and other suppliers, and really interrogated the analytics, and came to the table with a digital strategy in December 2013. And we presented that back to the business and gained universal buy-in on that. But it wasn't just an intangible vision. It was breaking down the overwhelming challenge into a series of initiatives that had helped propel them through change over the next 3 to 5 years. So we moved into 2014, and it was the year of PID, Passenger Information During Disruption. There are a lot of acronyms in rail. And that launched in November. And it was obviously a focus for the business because it's a main source of frustration for customers. In 2015, GWR were awarded the franchise. That meant the rebranding exercise could begin, and that culminated with the launch of gwr.com in September 2015. And then in January of this year, we launched the first stage of the booking flow. And I'll talk a bit more about all of these in detail as I go through. So as I said, partway through the journey, there was a rebranding exercise from First Great Western to Great Western Railways. And their aim was to revalue rail in the hearts and minds of the travelling public. But to do that, they really needed to move beyond transactions into relationships. And building those relationships meant not just putting a glossy interface on legacy infrastructure and systems and platforms. It meant rethinking from scratch. Start with something I think you'll all relate to: delays, cancellations. You can probably feel the rage bubbling up as you look at the screen. Why can't they just get it right? Common question. There are many reasons. There's a fractured marketplace, a complex infrastructure, and GWR's own disconnected ecosystem that make it tricky. But our customers don't care about excuses. They just want to be treated with respect. Help me get out of this situation and help me get to work on time. And a lot of you will have seen this kind of screen before. Customer expectations are high, omnichannel experiences, hyper-connected customers, and you'll have seen all these examples of retailers before as well. But train operating companies are notorious for being behind the times, especially when you compare them to air travel, for example. But it's not enough to be comparable just to other transport operators. Customers have an expectation that we're going to deliver a seamless customer experience that rivals that of Amazon or John Lewis or your favourite retailing brand, with obviously disruptors accelerating that expectation. But GWR obviously had a long way to go. Huge disconnect. I mean, what disruptors have, digitally native disruptors have on their side is agility baked in from the outset. But when you're talking about legacy infrastructure, disconnected platforms, departments with different agendas, and really poor processes, it makes decision-making tricky, to say the least. So where did we start? We started with the customer. A better understanding of the customer's needs and pain points would really help inform decision-making and create a mandate for change that the business could universally subscribe to. This is Olivia. She's a commuter. I'm going to grab some water. Who travels from Reading to London every day. And we know from our primary research that Olivia's needs are quite simple. She wants the right information at the right time. She wants to plan and book trips simply and easily. And she wants products, offices and services that are relevant to her, that suit her needs. Meeting Olivia's needs put personalisation high on the agenda. As I said, GWR had a really long way to go and a lot of challenges they faced. And one of the main challenges was that the marketing platform was separate from the booking platform. And that was not just a disconnected experience for the customer, but it meant that we were unable to attribute value to behaviours exhibited on the site. And also, GWR didn't have any control over the personalisation opportunities within the commercial side of the site. So these needs really helped define the roadmap, how we were going to connect Olivia and move into these relationships. So there's 3 key areas that we focused on. An inspirational website. So we wanted to improve browsability and entice Olivia to explore the West. But we also needed to rebuild from scratch because the legacy site wasn't fit for purpose. The code couldn't support personalisation. From a commercial perspective, as I said, we needed to integrate this into the main experience. But we also noticed there was a huge dropout at the first stage of the booking flow, and that needed addressing. But crucially, to become a digital business of scale, GWR needed moving to a more robust hosting infrastructure. When it came to advice, there was disparate feeds that said the same information in different places of the site, and it was really difficult to navigate, and it was understanding the business logic as well behind displaying disruption online and presenting it more intuitively for the customer. So how has this helped Olivia? Passenger information during disruption projects. So we streamlined the journeys. We took all the information that was disparate across the site and put it in one place for the customer. And we clearly signposted and we optimised it for mobile. So this was an industry first in displaying disruption online, and we had a huge uplift in page visits. More importantly, we had 64% of those from mobile users, which meant we were providing a critical service for customers on the move. And how did we get there? So we could tell from the analytics that customers were confused when navigating disruption information, and we knew we could improve this experience. And we went through 3 rounds of user testing in the process of defining a solution. We went from low fidelity wireframe through to a clickable prototype. You can see the example on the screen there. But we went beyond the realms of a great user interface. We spent a month working with the operations teams to really understand the logic and the workflows and how we could help them in displaying disruption online to make the experience join up. And thinking as customers. So one of the challenges we faced is that how we were proposing to display disruption information went against anything that they'd done before. So to really win the team over, we needed to invite them into usability testing with our customers so they could walk in the shoes of our customers. The launch. So we had a rather ambitious challenge to rebrand, rebuild the entire site in just 20 weeks. But not only that, we had to create brand guidelines and a tone of voice document to rebrand the entire digital ecosystem. And that was 30 plus digital touch points in just 20 weeks. I think I said that already. So marketing reach and just demonstrating the scale. We like to think of GWR.com as the second biggest station in terms of footfall, second to Paddington, when you think about marketing reach. And with 7 of the UK's top tourist destinations along its network, supporting effective content marketing was vital for the relaunch. So what can Olivia do now? She can navigate with ease. We've improved the browsability. She can find helpful content that meets her needs. And she can explore the West. So there was offers, destinations and events content that was poorly surfaced. And we created a more engaging tool with infinite scroll, and you can filter by theme and destination, and that's improved engagement on those Explore the West pages. And overall, we've improved revenue and conversion, which is the main point. So how do we get there? We held 6 stakeholder workshops in the process of defining a vision for brand, content and design. And we lined these back up to the business objectives from the business objectives workshop back in 2013. We created 3 mental models, and we tested those with 50 participants using a tool called TreeJack. And brand alignment. So we made sure we had a close alignment with all suppliers to make sure the brand rolled out in a seamless way for our customers across all touch points. And what about booking a ticket? So we talked about integrating the commercial platform into the main site. But again, we faced challenges. Complex API was one of those challenges. But strict regulation, working with governing bodies, making sure we were compliant. So we decided to launch a beta project and focusing on that key piece, that first stage of the booking flow that experienced the greatest dropout. And we launched it as an A/B test to just 5% of the audience in the first instance to gain business confidence. So what does that look like? So we simplified the UI and removed any functionality that wasn't necessary. We presented ticket types clearly and removed reasons to leave the page, such as changing the date. And so far, we've been industry accredited, which is no mean feat if you understand the complexity of rail fares and ticketing. And we've seen a 1.4% percentage point increase. And where we are now, we're at 50%. The A/B test has grown to 50% of the audience, and we're hoping to be at 100% by the end of next month. But what we've done throughout this entire process is really look at customer feedback and the analytics and what the business is saying, and fed this back into our optimization program and seen real uplift on the back of it. And that's gained business confidence for us to move forward with this project. How did we get there? So Insight obviously demonstrated this huge dropout, but it was ROI modelling that really provided the compelling case for the redesign. So if we could just minimise that dropout by 2%, what would that uplift look like? Co-creation and accreditation. So as I said, rail ticketing and fares are notoriously complicated. We can't change how they're structured, but we can present it more intuitively for the customer. So this involved working really closely with stakeholders, suppliers, governing bodies, so we could provide a product that met customer needs but was industry compliant. And we held co-creation sessions with the stakeholders and created a governance process for sign-off with GWR. We worked closely with GWR to do this, and that was really important in gaining momentum with the project, getting the right people around the table. But most importantly, it was customer insight that was leading the decision-making at each stage. And the process was so effective, it's now been rolled out across all of our initiatives. User testing, lots. So with millions of transactions a week going through the site, it was imperative that we had a really robust approach to testing. So we went through 5 rounds, starting with paper prototypes, guerrilla testing, and moving through to testing it with 200 remote participants on a clickable prototype. And what's the overall impact? Reputation. So with industry-leading initiatives and delivering results, it's really helped gain the reputation of the digital team and building out that centre of excellence. An infrastructure that's capable of scaling with the business. And building out governance processes that really help drive momentum and decision-making. And creating a platform on which to build further innovative products, bridging those gaps. And we've seen a 10.2% digital shift onto digital channels. So what's next for Olivia? So as I said, we've created the foundations, and we're working further on incorporating API calls, which are the My Account functionality. And that means we can start to layer customer IDs into the core product. We can start to include more complex data feeds. And that's when we can do the really exciting stuff. More personalised experiences based on our customers being known to us. Build out multimodal journey planning. And make it seamless across devices, whatever those devices might be. So what have we achieved? By putting the customer at the heart of the decision-making, we've been able to navigate business silos, and we've been able to make effective business decisions. It's only the start of the journey, but now GWR have the tools and the mindset to really drive forward change. So if we're going to summarise what we've done, how we've got there, it's aligning customer and business needs, so it's really understanding the size of the opportunity and prioritising against that. Assessing feasibility, people, processes and tech. What's standing in your way? Is anything standing in your way? If it is, create a mandate for change through customer validation, unequivocal evidence. Take people on the digital journey with you. It pays dividends in the long term. And it's not just about what's going to happen in 3 or 5 years in terms of results. Demonstrate results iteratively and rapidly as you go, because it gains reputation internally and gains momentum for your cause. And finally, repeat. So stakeholders and business priorities change, budgets get cut, projects stall for a whole manner of reasons. It's imperative that this isn't a one-off exercise. You need to continually reassess, realign, and feed insight back into the business in order to drive change. That's it from me. Thank you.